I'm willing to give my last ounce of energy and my last drop of sweat to secure what I've been building for me and my family and my supporters in the UK.
It's good to be back.
You know, Joshua, I've watched him for a long time. I know he's watched me. I'm coming up. I know his strengths. I know he knows mine.
His weaknesses, I'm going to expose him. His weaknesses are that he doesn't move as well as I do. The way to beat him would be speed and movement. So I don't think he can catch me.
If there was ever a rematch to define a boxer's career, this was it. Unfortunately, the fight doesn't always go according to plan. The boxing world knew that Anthony Joshua desperately needed a win in the Joseph Parker rematch in order to regain control of his already spiraling professional record. And now, it seems like this is the end.
I think we're all blessed with the ability to work hard. There's no doubt about that, but one thing that I think separates myself is the fact that I mix intelligence with hard work.
But a long time had passed since their original clash back in 2018. Even then, Parker was the first fighter who forced AJ to go the full 12 rounds. Joshua's usual explosive predator style of boxing was pacified in this fight, and the result was a less than entertaining unanimous decision victory.
How did you find the 12-round distance?
Light work. It's light. This is boxing. This is what we do.
No doubt AJ was hoping for another stomping 4th round knockout, but there was no chance. Since then, Parker's career has come a long way. He said himself in the run-up to the Parker-Dubois fight, he's been fighting for a long time, but it feels like he's only just started. One can imagine that this means he has so much more to give. Not bad for a man coming off a 6-fight winning streak. Over the years, Parker's career has seen him take on some of the biggest names in the division. He's faced off with and beaten the likes of Carlos Takam, Alexander Dimitrenko, Andy Ruiz, and even Derek Chisora, twice, to name just a few. With an impressive professional record of 36 victories, including 24 staggering knockout wins, Parker is in the unique position of being a serious contender and an experienced warrior simultaneously. He's like the journeyman who has only just begun his campaign, and it's quickly becoming clear that Parker intends to wage absolute war on the heavyweight division. Most fight fans agree by unanimous decision that simply based on his December 2023 performance against the Brawn Bomber Deontay Wilder, there's simply no question that Parker will annihilate Anthony Joshua.
Fighters say it all the time, but it seems like you are in the best moment of your career. Do you agree with that?
I am. I found what works. With the training and the rest and the balance in life.
Wilder has perhaps the most dangerous knockout power of any boxer to have ever lived, and even Parker had to admit it. It's a very hard right hand. If it landed clean, it would have been different. No kidding. Wilder isn't exactly known for being a soft touch.
He went across the Atlantic too. Oh, that shot!
Deontay Wilder was a 5-1 favorite over Joseph Parker. Parker had been knocked out by Joe Joyce and lost back-to-back fights against Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua earlier in his career. It goes without saying that everyone expected another entertaining Wilder knockout, but the fight world miscalculated. Wilder made all the wrong moves and allowed Parker to come in more aggressively as the fight progressed, getting rocked several times. It was a fantastic decision victory for Parker.
What did you think of Deontay Wilder's performance?
I think inactivity played a big part, but just the plan. I think the plan that we had and sticking to it, he wasn't able to, do what he wanted to do.
Fight fans unanimously agree that the way Parker fought here would see him easily smash Anthony Joshua in a similar fashion. As if suddenly re-energized by his emphatic win, Parker marched on to his next big-time showdown with the now infamous Zhilei Zhang, the Chinese Big Bang. At this point, Zhang was entering the win with a well-earned reputation for having dispatched with Joe the Juggernaut Joyce, not once, but twice in expert fashion. Some complained about all the boxing prowess being taken by a seemingly less than exciting character. Zhilei Zhang was stealing the thunder of the heavyweight division and quietly taking it back to China with him, away from prying eyes. But that didn't last long. Zhang and Parker faced off in March 2024, and boy did this one raise some eyebrows. It wasn't looking good as early as the third round when the Big Bang banged Parker straight back on his backside with a thumping left hook. Parker didn't know what hit him, but by round 4, Parker took advantage of Zhang's overly cautious rhythm to unleash his explosive weapons.
If Tyson beats Usyk, I want to fight the best in the world. And if he beats Usyk, he's the best in the world. And he's a great friend of mine, but I'll fight anyone and everyone to be the best, because I know I'm the best.
This kind of explosivity is what saw Parker overpower his opponent, and it's the very same weapon that many see him using to destroy Anthony Joshua in their rematch. Because when faced with such explosive power in the past, AJ hasn't exactly proven to be the most robust. In his recent fight against Daniel Dynamite Dubois, Joshua struggled to contend with the overpowering explosive punches detonated by his opponent. The world's former favorite heavyweight champion seemed to be simply outgunned in this one. Although he did try to regain control of the fight several times, and even landed a few decent shots on Dubois, in the end, it just wasn't enough to deal with Dynamite's thundering heavy blows. Some claim AJ seemed like he didn't really want to be in the ring. Perhaps there's been an element of doubt gnawing away inside the former heavyweight world champion. It must be hard to forget about such bumps on the road as his loss to Andy Ruiz back in 2019, Alexander Usyk in 2021, and again to Usyk in the rematch in 2022. The Ruiz loss was another perfect example of AJ struggling to deal with rapid explosive power. Ruiz was like a Mexican pit bull, the way he volleyed these mega combos right on Joshua's chin. The losses were all pretty unexpected, as Joshua had enjoyed being the people's favorite for so many years. But some say his time is now up. He's had a total of 32 professional fights, while Parker has had 39. Here it seems Parker even trumps on experience level. Not to mention, Joshua has had a total of 4 losses now. After AJ's 2 fights with Usyk, many at least expected him to have improved much more in his technique and boxing skill set. But this failed to shine through in his fight with Dubois. Not only that, but since smashing Zhilei Zhang, Parker had gone on to achieve yet another major win for himself. He stepped in the ring with the dangerous Martin Bacol. This was a fight that could have easily gone either way. In fact, many believed Bacol would smash Parker into 1,000 pieces. But the flabby Martin was noticeably slower and struggled to keep up with Parker's much faster and explosive pace. As if that wasn't enough, even against a much bigger opponent, Parker still rocked him multiple times with huge shots. No doubt something Joshua would really struggle with too. This was a second-round knockout victory for the dangerous Kiwi warrior, and boy did he deserve it. In case you needed reminding, Bacol stepped in at short notice after Daniel Dubois withdrew due to illness. Bad luck. He took his chance and rolled the dice, but the fight just wasn't for him. So what's next for Parker? Well, after bringing in so much heat to the division lately, he definitely deserves his chance for the throne. Fake Fight probably wouldn't understand when we say it's obvious the Parker of today would smash his way through AJ, Fury, and Usyk. That's because, unlike the others, Parker is the only heavyweight right now who keeps improving. You can't say that about AJ, who has lost a fair few fights recently, or even Tyson Fury, who failed to deal with Alexander Usyk twice, and also notably struggled to contend with Francis Ngannou, a man who was simply dipping into the sport as a random side quest from his professional mixed martial arts career. Not so impressive. And what about Usyk? A large portion of the fight world believed Usyk would still outbox the likes of Parker. The problem is, styles make fights. And as any real boxer will tell you, Parker's skill set is a pretty comprehensive array of boxing's essential weapons. Parker is likely to be the only pugilist with the size, strength, endurance, technique, and movement who can truly dismantle the Ukrainian legend. Sorry, what's that? Daniel Dubois, you say? Dubois simply stands no chance against Joseph Parker. He may be powerful, but as is already clear, the man seems to struggle with his willpower. He is unpredictable, and sometimes quits early. Dynamite Dubois has recently started turning up again, but it could be only a matter of time before he realizes his heart just isn't in it to take on the world's very best heavyweights. No, it's clear. Joseph Parker sweeps the floor with all of them. All except one man, a fighter who has barely been given a chance so far in the sport, and yet had never failed to deliver the goods whenever he had the opportunity. That man is Agit Kabayel. If you know, you know. Kabayel is possibly the most underrated man in the heavyweight division today, and some of the biggest promoters are secretly hoping he never gets the chance to face off with the prized fighters in the ring. It would simply be game over. But until that day, Joseph Parker is your man. If there's anyone else you think we should mention, tell us who it is in the comment section. Peace out, y'all.